For most of her career, there was not a day going by where you didn't see Nicki Minaj in the headlines, working, filming a music video, or seen by the paparazzi. She was everywhere. But recently, she's been taking a lot of breaks and she goes on a lot of hiatuses. And what's really interesting is that this is not only a great way for her to recharge mentally, to go back to being Nicki Minaj, this A-list worldwide superstar, but it's also proven to be a great marketing move for both her brand and her music. There's just a sense of excitement every time Nicki breaks her hiatus and comes back with new music. And I feel like she's one of the few artists who have mastered the art of going on a hiatus. And the thing about Nicki is that she is a really private person. She's never been the type to go on a lot of industry parties, especially now that she's a mom. If she's on a hiatus, then she's on a hiatus. No public sightings, no social media, no paparazzi pictures, nothing. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Nicki Minaj and her hiatuses, its effects on her career, and why she does it. Also, don't mind this new setup. I'm just doing something really casual, and I just wanted to, try more different formats, but I will be going back to my regular style of videos. I don't know, I just want something more intimate, and yeah. So, let's go.
Nicki Minaj is the queen of rap! Nicki Minaj is the queen of rap!
So for those of you who don't know, hiatus is defined as a pause or gap in a sequence, series, or process, basically taking a break. And Nicki has been known to take a break or two in between music releases. Nicki, especially in her earlier years, is a grind type of person. She was selling mixtapes out of her car, doing bookings at bars, clubs, then going on tour with Lil Wayne before she was signed to Young Money. She was working. She released 3 mixtapes in the span of 3 years within 2007 to 2009, then an album every 2 years during 2010 to 2014, and that doesn't include the re-up version for Pink Friday Roman Reloaded. So all in all, she released 7 projects from 2007 to 2014. That also doesn't account for the singles, standalone singles, multiple features, brand deals, and businesses that Nicki was handling. She was very busy. She was making a name for herself and became the household name that she is now. And she kept being busy till 2015 to 2016. As Nicki said in the opening track of Beam Me Up Scotty, she wants it the most, and in turn, she worked extremely hard to get it. And she did. She's now known as the queen of rap, the best-selling female rapper of all time, and one of the best rappers, period. 10th best rapper of all time according to Billboard even. But then 2017 happened, Cheater was released, everyone started to basically turn on her, and by the end of the year, she disappeared. She went on a hiatus. One of the first times she fully committed on taking a break, deleting all forms of social media on her phone and being a recluse. Only being seen one time by the paparazzi when she was entering a Beyonce party and her airport pics. Nicki was serious about that hiatus. She breaks her hiatus to do a brand deal and promote Mercedes-Benz, and shortly after she announces her comeback singles, the lead single to her 4th studio album Queen, and the promotional single Chun-Li and Barbie Tinks. The hiatus then come back with new music routine worked extremely well for Nicki, and she has been utilizing this strategy ever since. Some notable examples of when a hiatus worked well in her favor is during the January to May 2020 hiatus, and she broke it by releasing the remix to Doja Cat's Say So. This gave Nicki and Doja their first #1s on the Hot 100. November 2019 to January 2020, shortly after breaking her hiatus, she teased the fan-favorite promotional single Yikes, then releasing it after being bullied by the Barbs in her label. It peaked at #3 and it's a bop. As mentioned earlier, Chun-Li and Barbie Tinks were released after her December 2017 to March 2018 hiatus. The singles peaked at #10 and #25 respectively. I think her most successful hiatus in terms of building hype was during the January 2021 to May 2021 hiatus, her longest hiatus to date. She broke her hiatus by releasing a photo with the caption Friday and the Crocs, and it broke the internet. Literally everyone was tuning in on what Nicki will be releasing that Friday, and she surprised re-released her 3rd mixtape Beam Me Up Scotty on streaming services with Seeing Green, Fractions, and Crocodile Teeth remix. The mixtape sold over 80,000 copies in its first week in the US, which for a re-released mixtape, that's extremely impressive. Nicki actually sold more than a lot of rap girls' albums first week, so those are just some examples, but I feel like everyone gets that her hiatuses really do have a big impact on her music, especially for sales and hype. So let's kind of go deep on why this particular marketing strategy is so great for Nicki. I feel like the most obvious reason is that going on hiatus creates hype for new releases. I mean, in the span of a decade, she managed to snatch the record of most Hot 100 entries for a woman ever, only being beaten recently by Taylor Swift. And those 125 songs, 21 top 10 hits, and 3 #1 singles are indicative of how much we have heard of Nicki through our radios, streaming services, YouTube, you name it. And having that many songs that are popular and played throughout runs the risk of someone being oversaturated. Oversaturated separation is probably why most artists don't release multiple projects in a single year. Most give themselves like a 2-year or 1-year break before starting a new era. And even though I feel like Nicki was able to balance out and counteract being oversaturated, knowing when to promote her singles or do a feature or release projects, she's been able to weed through that particular problem. But especially after 2017, when people started to turn on her, not like her, and the whole Nicki hate train debacle, I feel like taking a break at the end of the year was a really good move in Nicki's part. It gave people time to wonder what Nicki is going to do next, and separate her small no frauds 3-pack from Paris whacking Grammy era to the Queen era. And there's also an interesting phenomenon with Nicki going on hiatus, because when she's on hiatus, everyone loves her. This is something I'm going to be touching on further, but yeah, it's really weird. Going back to it, hiatuses really do build hype for a new release or era. Another reason why hiatuses work so well for Nicki plays into the idea that Nicki Minaj is polarizing. This is something I've talked about in a previous video. Watch that after watching this video. But the gist of it is, people perceive Nicki as being unlikable because of the double standards placed upon her. And regardless of whether people's reasoning for not liking Nicki is even valid or right, they still perceive Nicki as this polarizing figure. Either you love her or you hate her. And I think her hiatuses really do kind of let the general public recharge from being overloaded with Nicki, and letting people realize, Nicki is really mother to all these bitches because her sons are not giving. They're not feeding me. And I think that's why hiatuses work so well for Nicki in this instance, because some people can only take Nicki at doses. And sort of separating herself from the public in between of music releases lets them take a break from the Nicki of it all. The Nicki hate on social medias usually goes up and down. Sometimes they hate her, sometimes they love her, sometimes they wish her, sometimes they want her to take a break. So being able to ride out that wave and sort of come back when people love you so they stream the music is kind of genius. Hiatuses also kind of give Nicki the A-lister private mystique that Beyonce, for example, emits. Nicki for the most time doesn't really act like the traditional A-lister that you have, despite being one. Since most of her hiatus she's like really gone from the public eye, it kind of lets us see what Nicki would be like if she copied the Beyonce formula, not talking to fans or anyone really, and only coming back with new music. And this is why the hiatus is really perfect for Nicki, because as much as a lot of people, and even Barbs, think that she should be like Beyonce and be so private, would it really be Nicki Minaj if she wasn't interacting with the Barbs? Would it really be Nicki if she wasn't a little bit messy on social media? Would it really be Nicki if she stayed silent? I don't think her being messy is beneficial for her career, but is it worth it to lose a lot of your identity and a lot of your voice just so people will like you more? These are the types of questions that really have no right answer, and this is why hiatuses are perfect for Nicki. She's giving people time to, you know, soak in that A-lister mystique before she comes back. And I think the most important part really in Nicki taking hiatuses is for her mental health. As said earlier, in 2017, Nicki didn't have a great year in terms of her reputation. Even though it was a successful year for her like numbers wise, it must have been really hard on her being hated so much all of a sudden after years of being mostly loved by the general public. It was really sudden how the general public turned on her. And even if Nicki's whole brand is being a bad bitch, you bitches can't get to me, she's still a human being, and I'm sure she didn't like being hated on. That's why she deleted all of her social media from her phone when she went on hiatus at the end of 2017. Her hiatuses are not only a way for people to recharge on her, it's also a way for her to recharge herself before she steps into the public light with sure scrutiny. It's not easy being a public figure. I mean, I'm barely a public figure, and even the comments sometimes gets to me. I'm literally just a speck compared to Nicki Minaj. Imagine what she has to go through. And the sad thing is, even her fans contribute to the already millions of negative comments that she receives. Especially now that she's a mother and she has someone to look after other than herself. These hiatuses not only let her focus on herself mentally, it also allows her to focus on her son and her family. And I feel like this is the real reason as to why Nicki does these hiatuses. Recently, she broke her hiatus again by going to Trinidad and announcing her new single, Red Ruby the Sleaze. So yeah, the hiatuses are a really great tool for Nicki, for her mental health, and for her as an artist. And I feel like her type of hiatus is really molded for the type of artist that Nicki is. Hopefully the next hiatus that we get is for the album, because Nicki, we need that album. Like right now. Like right now. Where's the album? Like, give it to me. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I know this like setup is really different from what I usually do, but I don't know, I just wanted to switch it up and do something more casual, more personal, you know, because I wanted to connect with you guys. I want to connect with my audience. I want to connect with you. Also, I didn't really want to set up like my green screen and my camera and stuff. So yeah, let's just do something like this. I think I'm gonna do this setup more often, but it's not gonna replace like my green screen stuff and all of that. So I'm gonna be doing that. But yeah, I feel like sometimes I just want to be like more eye to eye with you guys. So yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be doing these types of videos more, you know, very like conversational. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Stream Red Ruby the Sleaze. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. Goodbye.